We're live, pal.
We're live?
We're live.
Certainly.
Yeah.
All right. WrestleMania 40
sir.
is on the docket today. We did some predictions of some of the major matches.
Yep.
We were right, and we were also wrong. And then there was a lot of unexpected, but certain unexpected things you called to a T.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah, you got some things with
Now,
me too.
where do you want to start?
Well, we got to start with what kicked off WrestleMania Night 1. Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch for the women's title.
So back to what I had initially said about that. I really thought Becky was going to win it for the reasons that I stated, but I also would not be surprised at all if Rhea did.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I listen, I don't want to take away anything from her actual wrestling capability and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to do that, so don't take it that way. But I am absolutely convinced, and I know a lot of folks will agree, that there is some goth kink that has really helped keep her in the spotlight.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean,
Face down, ass up.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I can think of a few people. My homie Joe, especially.
Yeah, no, they're out there.
Look,
that's not to take nothing away from her. I'm just glad that to see Becky back in a serious match like that.
Oh yeah,
and
me
Rhea,
too.
Hey, if that's what the fans love, it is entertainment after all.
Right.
Let it be entertainment. So
I mean, I guess why I thought she would retain is because, why Becky would win is because Rhea has had the title for a year. We've already had the Roman lengthy title reign, Gunther with the Intercontinental. We've already had so many recently, so I thought Becky was a shoo-in. But then on commentary, they're like, "Yeah, Becky's battling the strep throat and has the fucking fever," and I was like, "Oh."
See, to me, that would give me more reason to believe that she was about to win. But nonetheless, I mean, I didn't get to see that match. I was working on and off throughout WrestleMania, so I saw a good bit of it, but not all of it.
Right.
Do you feel it was at least a good match?
Oh man, it was a really good way to open up WrestleMania Night 1. Both of them tore it down. I knew they'd have a good match, but even for Becky being sick, they tore it down.
Hey man, the greats play hurt.
Absolutely.
Ain't that is a fact across the board with greats and sports in general.
Oh,
now, next up, what do we have though? At least on your list over there.
Let's see. In terms of matches we predicted, next up, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso, the battle of the brothers,
which is again, I believe, one you called about perfectly, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I said Jey was gonna win, and that he did.
Yeah, I think part of your reasoning is that he seemed to have more popularity and cachet amongst the fan base.
Oh, most definitely.
And they came out later too. Was it the main event when they came out on day 2?
Yep, that was the main event on day 2.
Yeah, and I loved how I think it was Jey tackles Jimmy onto the table.
Yep, yeah.
That just happens to be there. Huge walkway, all that, but hey, folding table right here. But no, it was fucking great though. It's like an 8-foot fall, and just he like pile drives the shit out of him.
Yeah,
definitely entertaining. One thing I have to talk about, and I in a sense, I feel like it's a get it out of the way type of thing, but Logan Paul.
Oh man.
And what was it, Randy Orton?
Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens.
And Kevin Owens, right? Yeah, told you so, dude. Unfortunately, what I didn't see coming was KSI coming out in a prime suit and
or whatever the fuck his name is, I Show Speed or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't care.
It's KSI.
No,
right? Wasn't that KSI?
No, apparently it was I Show Speed or whatever the fuck.
Okay, well, shit. Shows you how much I know about that.
I barely knew until I had to see it on commentary, and I'm like, oh, that's what that is? Yeah.
Dude was barking and shit. Oh, man, it was so fun. I could have swore they said it was KSI. Is that just like his wrestling name? Or
no, I thought it was KSI, but no, they said it on commentary and later
gave you like this little
yeah, but no, I guess it's whoever the fuck. Dude, I mean, they both look the same, to be honest. So.
Yeah, fucking Randy Orton giving him the boot was one of my fucking highlights of that shit.
Oh, that was so great.
That was so fucking funny. So even though Logan Paul won, predictably so, in my opinion, because that's what I predicted, it was entertaining otherwise.
Yeah.
I have to give him that. And like on that topic of just entertainment in this past WrestleMania, this Like, again, I'm the casual, you're the diehard.
Right.
If you truly want to succeed, you have to please both.
Absolutely.
And this past WrestleMania has been the most talked about, looked forward to, celebrated after the fact. WrestleMania, I can remember since literally, for me, like the late 90s. It was an absolute success. When I turned on, whether it was the radio, regular FM radio at that, television, day before, day after, Chael Sonnen was talking about it on ESPN with Daniel Cormier. I think all of that stuff, it was on First Take.
Right.
They had a few wrestlers on. Cody Rhodes was on a few things on ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
It was a major success, undoubtedly.
Oh,
and I think it really proves that what once would have been a laughed at opinion, getting Vince out of the business, was the best thing that could have happened to him.
Oh, absolutely.
And I stand on that, and I think WrestleMania was proof.
Yeah, very much so.
Same with Triple H taking over. Definitely was the right guy for the job, too.
Yeah.
Now, in the next match that we on our prediction list.
Well, before I move on, I just want to say,
hey, go ahead.
In regards to Jimmy and Jay, I just want to touch on that match a little bit. I expected that match to be better, and the story was good, but for them being brothers, I thought they would have put on a better match, me personally.
Well, yeah, I didn't see it, but I'll say this. If you're brothers in the business, that business in particular, you got to know each other's every move and therefore capable of putting on the best show imaginable.
Yeah.
So I'll take your word for it there.
Like, it was solid, but I felt like it should have been better personally. Like, it just
be interesting to see what everyone else thinks out there. Who catches this, whether it's here live or after the fact.
Right.
I take your word for it. I thought it was cool how they came out and like later on night 2 and that, like I said, the table and all that, but I didn't see their individual match.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. What do you got next though?
Let's see. Next, in terms of our predictions, we've got the main event of night 1, Rock and Roman. Against Cody and Seth.
This is a big one because I had a serious reasoning behind my prediction there. Given, so obviously Cody had to lose, in my opinion,
right,
and that was to set up him winning night 2.
Yeah.
Bloodline rules, right?
Yep.
And so that gives you, in my opinion, a better set of rules or lack thereof for night 2.
Right.
So I wanted Cody to lose, and The Rock was fucking hilarious. Like that night 1 was so fucking funny with the ref and everything.
Yeah.
If you start a count, you're fucking fired. I don't fuck around. Just it's so dead serious. And part of what we noticed is that the cursing, particularly from The Rock, was not really censored night 1.
Right.
And then night 2, they were cutting out whole sentences.
Yeah, I hated that,
and that's,
man.
In our opinion, that's bullshit because this isn't cable television. This is on a streaming service. So some adult has to have created an account somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, we're talking about a few F-bombs.
Right.
The crowd at one point was chanting, "You fucked up. You fucked up." And there ain't no beeping that out. So I don't know why they bother with that.
Well, surprisingly, they
just let it be attitude era shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly though, especially lately, they have been bleeping the crowd out on like Raw and even NXT and SmackDown, and it's like, come on,
who cares?
Yeah,
I can understand when it's on cable television and you have to follow FCC guidelines.
Right.
That, okay, your hands are kind of tied, right?
Right.
But on Peacock,
yeah, like, come on.
Or in the future with Netflix,
exactly,
let some F-bombs fly.
Yeah, and hopefully they do.
Ain't nobody trying to, at least you and I aren't trying to make it ultra hardcore wrestling or anything, but F-bombs, some bitch here, ho there.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it go, man. It's funny. Especially from The Rock. Like, that's like half of his characters, that he's a lovable asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, he can be a heel and is somehow loved anyway, either in secret or publicly. Like, he's just beloved in that sense.
Especially right now, like, even with his final boss shit and all of that, people still love him.
Yeah, so speaking on predictions, I'm going to throw this out there before I forget. So, and we'll talk about night 2 in just a second, a little bit further, the main event. But I personally believe and let this be on camera and forevermore. The Rock is going to take the title from Cody Rhodes in about 8 or 9 months. And that's going to create a lot of hysteria, upset, but entertainment, most of all, leading up to WrestleMania 41, where in glorious fashion, Cody takes it back from The Rock, possibly with Roman interference and fucking them both up anyway. So Cody loses the title in 6, 8, 9 months.
Yeah.
Takes it back at WrestleMania 41.
Interesting.
I got $5 on it. I'll say that. I definitely put a bill on it. So a small one, not a big one. You never know with wrestling. Things
of course.
Storylines over a whole year can change a lot and stuff like that. You never know how. I know this. Rock ain't trying to, even if you offered it to him, hold the title for some 2-3 years and the night in, night out grind that you have to do as a title holder. But temporarily for a few months,
right?
Like a year-long contract, if you will, it's gonna go from here to here. I'm telling you, that would create for serious entertainment value. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some merit to that because back on Raw, Rock came out when Cody was doing his big championship celebration speech, and Rock came out. It was like, Rock's gotta go away for a while, but essentially there is some shit that led you to believe that they're gonna have a match at some point.
It will.
I believe so too.
That'll be entertainment at its best because you have the new guy that younger people cheer for, but also the millennials, and then you have The Rock, who plenty of millennials will root for, but also older folks. It's a win-win scenario.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, speaking of scenarios, Phil, our boy Phil, had an idea of how things should have went down. And while y'all don't know Phil, and that's all gravy, baby, we met in college, Bryce and I, and we met around the same time when we met Phil, and we were kind of like a trio in college. And he's also a diehard of wrestling like you.
Oh, yeah.
So listen to this man's idea of what should have happened.
All right. So according to Phil, we asked him, about his opinion, and Phil said, honestly, I really do think Roman's reign as champion and the bloodline being at its most supreme dominance for the next calendar year. But to do that, we need to rewrite and rethink some of the direction the entire angle has been on since Roman.
So you want to rewrite history? You want to time travel then?
Yeah, I didn't get what you were saying.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. I'm just saying you'd have to literally time travel and change. But you'd have to butterfly effect the fuck out of wrestling itself. Go on.
We need to rewrite and rethink some of the direction the entire angle has been on since Roman Reigns returned in 2019. 3 major pieces being any more members, like a couple females, which if you saw SmackDown, Tama Tonga debuted, and that's another member of the bloodline, and that's a whole nother thing. So
there is no way on God's green earth the fans, even if he did that, the fans were willing to go another year of Cody getting his ass kicked. By Roman and The Rock, and just bring their signs back because so many people had signs.
Yeah.
A whole year later, finish this story, bro. You have to capitalize on moments.
Exactly.
And when you don't, all the gas goes out of the balloon. All the air goes out of the balloon.
Right.
And same with, that's even worse than, kind of prematurely introducing a change in things. It reached its natural crescendo.
Yes.
And to do that a whole nother 12 months, it would have lost so much steam.
Oh, yeah, man.
And interest. The common fan would have bailed. The diehards still would have been around, but frustrated. And a whole nother year. And also, let Roman have a break.
Yeah, he had already had it for 3.5 years at that point.
Right. And when you're the champ, you have to present as a champ day in, day out. You got to always be a major part of things.
Exactly.
Versus a jobber can kind of come in, come out. Right. I'm not saying he should step back to being a jobber. I'm saying give him a full-on break. Couldn't let him, for all I care, disappear for a month or two.
Yeah.
And let The Rock become extra nasty, and this thing can heat up. Even though Cody now has the title, let it heat up between him and The Rock.
Yes.
That to me would have been or will be.
Yeah. Especially that's what they're leading to. If
you think about it from an entertainment perspective.
Yeah.
That's what's up. But Phil's idea of No, just 12 more months of Roman's reigns and The Rock beating up Cody, and then do it next year. And somehow we're going to time travel and go back in history and change history in the past all the way back to 2019. Nothing short of fantasy and I think lack of well put together thought. And we're just spitballing here.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty more.
Nothing personal, Phil, but that's about all I can handle of that.
Yeah,
I just think it's a terrible idea. And what we got was a great idea.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to expound upon that because I can't time travel.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's especially when they've already done what they've could. He mentioned something about, digging into Sami Zayn more. And no, that was always going to be a temporary thing, adding Sami Zayn to the bloodline. They couldn't have executed that more perfectly. So to dive into that more and this stuff with Jey Uso and this and that, like, that's just overkill.
Yeah, right.
Like, what they've done is actually fine.
Yeah, well, it's beyond fine. It's been great. Like I said, it's been one of the most successful WrestleManias in history.
Yeah, like the whole bloodline storyline arc that he's trying to say, I wouldn't change a thing. Like, it's been fine to me.
And that's from a diehard and casual agrees. So,
yeah.
I mean, again, we're just two people. But no, Phil, we disagree vehemently. Now, you did predict something on the money. And why is it on the money, not just winner and loser? Talk about that for a minute, because you are on the record there, so you can fully back up what you're about to say. What did you predict, dude?
So
tell the world how right you were.
I quite literally predicted the exact way Damian Priest would cash in and win the World Heavyweight Championship. So we had Seth Rollins, we had Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight title. Drew McIntyre didn't end up winning. It was I wouldn't say quick match, but it was for WrestleMania. It was a quick match. Bunch of, Drew hit his finisher a bunch, bunch of near falls. Drew ended up winning. The caveat, of course, and this is how I knew this shit was really going to happen. He slowly makes his way over to the commentary table, gets in CM Punk's face, literally gets up on the fucking commentary table and hits the suck it chant to Punk while he's holding the title. And Punk's fucking grinning and like, all right, dude. And then Punk just finally snaps, yanks Drew's leg, takes off his fucking arm brace, stomps the shit out of Drew.
I did see the replay of I didn't see the whole match, but I saw the replay of significant portions of the highlights, if you will. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh, his wing works today. His wings work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so he beats the crap out of Drew, and after he's done hitting him with the brace, the fucking Judgment Day theme song kicks in. Damian Priest runs down, cashes in. CM Punk tosses Drew in the ring. Damian Priest hits his finisher. Boom.
Now, everyone who saw WrestleMania, and I'm sure that's the people watching, you all know this. That's not the point. The point is, on Friday, a couple days before, you predicted every single minute detail of this.
Yes.
To a T.
Oh, yeah.
So I give you props for that.
Thank you, dude. And it's like I've been saying, it's like
that requires 4 different human beings minimum.
Yeah.
And a lot of decisions to go in a specific order versus just winner and loser. I'm just saying it's a harder prediction.
No, for sure.
And 4 variables.
And to me, like I was saying, on that Friday when we did the prediction video, it made sense because in Triple H's era, you have to pay it, like, as it naturally should, you have to pay attention to details that are in front of you. You had Damian Priest getting screwed out of his cash-in opportunities by Drew McIntyre. You had CM Punk, who had beef with McIntyre and Rollins. For me, the pieces kept adding up, and I'm like, okay, I think they're legit going to do it. And I can't tell you how many people thought, oh, Damian Priest isn't going to cash in. Oh, he's been a failure this whole time. Well, he's going to fail his cash in. I'm like, nah. He's going to cash in successfully because they've been building him up strategically.
It was the most opportune time to do it.
Exactly.
Too. If you're going to cash in the case, there's nowhere better than Mania.
Exactly. On the second person to cash in at Mania.
It seems like where WWE is right now is they're trying to make it a bit more unpredictable.
Yeah,
and that's good. I don't think it was intentional on Vince's part, but I think he just became predictable.
I think so
because remember, like going back to the way back days, Russo and all of them, they come up with a game plan for writing that would go months out, and he go, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah." And then the night of something, he'd go, "Now we're gonna do this.
All right, off the script. We're doing something else."
Yep, right.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's a grapist with a mustache and likes to defecate on chests. Good riddance and good on you, Triple H. How's that?
Yeah,
How's that for
absolutely.
you? All right. What else we got, dude?
Let's see. We got. This wasn't on my list, but I do feel like I need to talk about it just slightly. The Philadelphia Street Fight match with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against Karrion Kross and Offers of Pain. Now, very few times do I say that I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy this match, but for me, it didn't seem like it fit on WrestleMania. Like these guys, their feud was just okay. And Karrion Kross to me is a person who, great character, very dry delivery. So for me, even having fucking Bubba Ray Dudley as a ref, Snoop on commentary, which honestly was the highlight of that match. Like that match, as much as I love all the guys in the match, it didn't do much for me in terms of a WrestleMania match. Like that shit I expected to see on a SmackDown.
Well, that's one of many reasons I think it's great that they took Mania to 2 nights.
Me too.
Versus trying to make it a 7-hour attempt for the viewer.
Yeah.
Is it even it being one of the most hailed WrestleManias in recent history or history period, you can't get everything right and perfect. And
no, of course.
And people are going to have different opinions.
Yeah.
There might be people who think, oh, no, whatever we thought was dope was dumb, right? Phil, for example.
Yeah.
Right? So there is always opinion. That is part of it.
Right.
But you can't hit every ball out the park.
Right.
So, and I felt like one of the things they did with this one that for me as a casual watching it was nice is it felt like it kept moving.
Yeah.
There have been times with fairly recent WrestleManias where I watch them, and as a casual, I feel like I don't know enough about these motherfuckers for this to be an hour-long thing.
Right.
Match, lead up, build up, match itself afterwards. Like, you got to keep it moving to a degree. Now, the main events are the main events.
Like, of course.
What I just said is null and void to those.
Yeah.
But the lesser, the undercard matches, if you will, like
right,
trying to overstretch and overwork those can also be a big mistake. So that might have been something they were trying to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it could have that could have been what they had in mind, and it was still poorly executed. But you're able to either way move on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like they say in boxing or MMA, not every fight can be a knockout.
Yeah.
But you got to keep it moving either way.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to see a 40-round boxing match that's just a hugging snooze fest. And it's just so you got to keep entertainment moving because it is sport, entertainment combined.
Right.
So I would say get over it, in short.
Yeah, no, for
right?
sure.
That
exactly.
Type of thing. Now, the main event, I noticed 2 things at the end of it. At the end of night 2, the main event, Cody gets the belt. Him having like his mom in there who the night before told The Rock, bullshit from the crowd. Hilarious, by the way. Oh, it was sweet to see his victory and everyone come in and him take the mic. It had a very glorious feel to it, right? Like the build up that's been behind all of it. Had a very glorious feel. And what was I going to say? I'm sorry. Also, it put you in a place where you felt at the end like, there's a sense of like justice was done or whatever. Like guys earned it and all that stuff. And immediately you think, like, my brain started moving immediately like, oh shit, this could lead to even better shit next year.
Exactly.
And I haven't felt that way with a Mania final match, main event, all that. And again, quite some time.
Yeah. And I'd agree with that too. It's obviously we've had, champions where you feel like there's going to be, a monumental change. I'll even his name's fucking taboo. I'll even go back to Chris Benoit winning at WrestleMania 20, like him beating Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Daniel Bryan beating Batista and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. Like, it's like I was telling my boy to hear, like, you get to these monumental WrestleManias, even one of our favorites, 14, where Stone Cold beat Shawn Michaels. Like, there's always in WWE history and wrestling in general where you have these moments where that big new baby face that deserves to win wins, and it truly feels like a different time is upon us.
Yeah, that's precisely what that felt like. And that's as a casual, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we were talking about, the last few days, really since Mania. You've got to please the diehards.
Yep.
But it's the casuals who take it to the next level.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, because like the diehards, you're gonna watch no matter what. You love wrestling so much, you're gonna watch it through its dark days. You're gonna watch.
Yeah.
But the casuals aren't. The casuals aren't.
Yeah.
And so if you can make it an event that's appealing for both, that's a real win.
Exactly.
And like you mentioned, Mania 14. To me, another one that comes to mind is 17.
Yep.
That was an era where you're winning, you're hitting both.
Exactly.
Hitting both pockets there.
Yep.
So, and it felt like that. And like you said, a true change to the future all around. Company, storyline, roster, everything. And as a side note, I will add this too. AEW just 12 months ago looked like they were winning big time.
Yeah.
In the wrestling world as a whole and against WWE. 12 months later, here we are. And that shit looks like a glorified indie show. And I said what I fucking said.
No, I feel you. And hey, shout out to my boy Mike who's in here in the wrestling group of men. Shout out to Nah, my bad boy crew and Nah. My boy Mike. Let's see. The opposite of what AEW is doing. Hey, Mike, you already know. We talk about it. Him and I and a bunch of our other close homies in our Bad Boys group chat, we always talk about it. Like AEW right now, we were talking so much about the we'll just segue into this real quick. The fucking footage that they showed from All In. Like, Corey, I was able to show you that in full. Like, come on, man. Like,
Corey.
Yeah, it was corny. Like, and I was talking about it with all those guys, and I see some of them in here. Shout out to Nick, shout out to Mike. All of us were talking about it. We're like, it's not like it's gonna tear AEW down, but it's not a good look. It looks embarrassing for them.
Look, man, in 12 months, we might look back and see that as the first or final, depending how you look on it, nail in the coffin for AEW.
I think so too. And people might say, and the guys know, Mike and Nick in the chat, they know, like, we've got people in our wrestling group who are like, oh no, y'all are just over embellishing. It could be much worse. Hippity hoopla. And I'm like, it's still embarrassing though.
It goes back to what I was just saying. Your diehards are always gonna watch.
Of course.
But if you lose the casuals, you can't put on a product that's good enough to excite, I should say, the diehard. They're going to watch anyway, but with frustration.
Exactly.
With disappointment.
Yeah.
And straight up, just from the casual perspective here, if I put on SmackDown or Raw, even if I don't know much about the person, I know their name. I know their face.
Right.
Right? Becky Lynch, Rhea, etc.
Right.
AEW, I don't know who 90% of these motherfuckers are.
Yeah.
And it looks glorified indie. It does.
Yeah.
Even the mic stuff, the back and forth. Oh yeah, you're in back talking shit about me. I'm up front talking shit about you. I'm in the ring talking shit. I look like Mr. Clean with a mustache. FTR. I don't know what the fucking FTR is. Is that a new car? I don't know.
It's supposed to be.
But WWE.
Yeah.
I know who everyone is for the most part.
And it's funny
whether I've watched them or not.
Right.
That says something.
And it's funny you say that about FTR because, funny enough, that name came from Cody Rhodes and the fucking Young Fucks. Those guys and Kenny Omega, they're a little group called the Elite. That came from them being when FTR was in WWE as the Revival, the TR and FTR. Cody and them started saying, fuck the Revival, FTR. And so that's why those guys, formerly known as the Revival, started going by FTR to try to flip it as something good instead of fuck the Revival. It's like Forever the Revival or whatever the fuck they're trying to spin it as. Yeah, so that's why they're FTR.
I
hated that from the start.
They look like some dudes that just came off of the set of the documentary 350 Days, talking about how they were sleeping in a van with midgets sleeping on their feet and didn't have enough to go to Waffle House, and somehow they just got a clean razor, and I that everything about it. I try not to get off track here. Everything about it is corny. I don't know who they are. I don't like after Sting, of course.
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course
no,
I
no
know who the
doubt.
fuck Sting is.
Yeah.
Obviously Punk and a few others, Jericho, whatever.
Ugh.
Although you know how I feel about him.
You and me both. The guys they know. Mike and
But
they know.
now I don't even know, like, for a casual to follow a storyline or stuff like that, it's got to be really good.
Yeah.
And include really good athletes, wrestlers, mouths, etc.
Right.
And AEW just feels like maybe a good indie show with expensive equipment.
Yeah.
Straight the fuck up. That's how it feels to me right now. And 12 months from now, I'm telling you, showing that little video, which they pumped it up so much for actually showing
Oh, they really did.
And there's no audio, which it's probably because of the security camera in the first place. It was exactly what CM Punk said happened. Yeah. And I've been a big critic of his.
Oh, I know you have.
And so it might 12 months from now be one of those things where we go Mania 40, nail, and then what they did in response was another, and then let the dominoes fall from here. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, and
I don't predict a great future for them.
Yeah,
I said the opposite a year ago.
And especially even in addition to that, like some of the guys know, and I'll read some of their comments in a second here. Like, it's not even just that. Like, I can't tell you how many days in a row we've been talking like what they're doing here is wrong with AEW. Building up champions, this ranking system that Tony Khan has that doesn't even seem to fucking matter half the time. Like,
well, of course it doesn't matter. It's wrestling.
It's
predetermined. I mean, I didn't use the F word, fake. I'm just saying it's predetermined. You're trying to mimic the UFC, which has C for champion, and then there's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And ideally, the number 1 fights the champion for the belt. It's wrestling, man. Like,
of course.
Don't try to make it something it's not.
Yeah, and that's why
make what it is as best you can.
Yeah, and that's why myself and plenty of others have hated that damn ranking system, and it's just stupid.
Maybe if it was left up to a fan vote, then it could have some sort of merit. But like how the NBA All-Star selection works, it's all fan vote now,
right?
For the most part, it is. But like, you're asking me to buy into a ranking system of something that's predetermined.
Exactly.
And what would knock a person down or up the ranking? I guess winning and losing, or that's how it works with everything else.
Yeah, I'm just as confused because a great example.
Oh God!
I know the guys will help me in the chat figure it out. But fucking Dustin Rhodes. Funny enough, formerly known as Goldust. Dustin Rhodes faced Samoa Joe for the title just back on Wednesday, but Swerve Strickland is number 1 in the rankings.
I had to do my Goldust.
So it's like Dustin Rhodes wasn't even in the rankings, and it's like, what? Like, that throws the whole ranking shit out the window. Like, what is going on?
That's almost like revealing a bit of the case. Like, that's almost like revealing a bit of what wrestling is, which is that predetermination of who's going to be popular, but what it's based on, if there isn't any criteria other than who Tony Khan wants to kiss that day, it's a pretty fucking lame ass ranking system.
Yeah.
What do the fellas say?
All right, let me get up here. So let's see. Mike said AEW will recover, but this was the first major thing that they did to confirm what people have said about the management.
Well, when you say recover, what does that equal? Does it mean does AEW will recover? Does that mean they will be where they were 12 months ago? Or does it mean they will survive? Because I would agree that they've got enough money behind them that they'll survive for quite a while.
Right.
I don't think they're about to like go under or get bought, consumed WCW stuff. But if what you mean by recover is they'll be where they were 12 months ago, I don't know about that, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Could be. But the way, again, their opponent, WWE, is going like this. AEW is going like that. I don't know.
Oh, he said, no, they will survive.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, what do we determining or defining rather as surviving. I mean, he by default, I think I would agree with
Yeah, I
him.
mean, I guess not completely get taken out right away would be my guess. I mean, Mike, you'll have to correct
staying
me.
on TV, staying in arena-sized places. I get,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I think there's enough general wrestling interest, but
Right.
I think the gap is going to be a lot wider.
I think so
for
too.
any foreseeable future. I mean, again, I'm not
Yeah.
an expert or anything, but I'm a pretty good observationist, so
Of course.
that's what I'm going with. But no, he's probably right. They probably will survive.
Yeah.
I even when I said that initially, I wasn't saying that in like 12 months they'd be dropped off the air and all that. It could happen.
Yeah,
But
it could.
I'm not going that far, but
Yeah.
somewhere in between, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd say that too. Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
I mean, it's like I was telling those
might
guys.
have to go to smaller venues.
Yeah.
Tickets might have to get cheaper. I don't know.
I mean, it's like I was telling these guys, Mike and Nick and those guys, if they keep doing more dumb shit like they did with showing the footage, yeah, that's going to turn more people off.
Well, and the other thing is roster issues. They don't have what gets the casual to tune in a few times a month.
And the roster's way over bloated. Tony Khan has way too many people, and it's not doing enough with them. Like, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah. So you got to get both. You'll have the diehards, or at least half of them. At least, ideally, you'd want all the diehards because you're putting on. You get all the diehards if you're putting on just as good a product as the best product, which is currently the WWE.
Right.
But the casuals are only going to go with one. Like,
of course,
the casual sports fan doesn't watch ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN Ocho Nueve, whatever. Like, there's so
ESPN
many, right?
News, ESPN
like, right? ESPN Classic.
Yeah,
like, your diehard watches that stuff. Your casual Sports Center. Yeah, that's your fucking hallmark, right?
Yeah.
There. So that's, I guess, where I see a bit of a serious problem with AEW is they just don't have the names, people, stories that your casual can go, oh, I have some familiarity with it. I watched it a couple weekends ago or weeks ago, and then they tune in because they see commercial and go, oh shit, I got to see that.
Right.
They don't have that, man.
Yeah.
If the best thing you can offer me is Chris Jericho and a bunch of motherfuckers I ain't ever heard of, I mean, again.
Right. No, I'm with you.
What do you want me to say? It's one of those things for me, at least. And again, I'm coming from the casual's perspective. I understand everyone up in here, probably you especially, and them probably know far more about the intricacies and history, all that stuff of wrestling, but I ain't no idiot either.
No, I know
I understand entertainment really well, boxing, etc. And there's a lot of similarities there, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see, right? We could talk it to death for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Who else is up in here?
All right, still Mike and Nick up in here, more or less. Let me skip ahead here. One of Nick's comments: the ranking system in AEW, they doesn't need it there, and it's so pointless because the predetermined criteria. Yeah,
right. Like I'm not sitting here, throwing fake all over the place. That word. It's just that realistically, it is a combat sports soap opera.
Yeah.
So, understanding that as grown adults that we are, without clear criteria, and what would it even be? Would be the even bigger question.
Great question.
What so and so's match got watched more than so and so. So it's really trying to imitate because the UFC hasn't always had a ranking system. Believe it or not, they just put, hey, you want to fight him? Hey, you want to fight him too? Dope. Like back in the day, that's how UFC was. Now they just in the last, I'd say, handful of years, maybe 10 years, started doing a ranking system of sort. Boxing doesn't do it, but they have an unofficial one.
Oh, okay.
So where it's because boxing is determined by there's the WBC, World Boxing Council, WBO, World Boxing Organization, the WBA, World Boxing Association. There's the IBF, on. There's different boxing belts. So they all have their own different criteria. But at the end of the day, a boxing fan can, whether you love them or hate them, look at in their prime, say Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao, and go, I want to see him fight so-and-so. It's just like a guttural feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling can't really have that. It just can't. So just stick to what's worked ever since wrestling's been around, and that is give the people what will entertain them.
Exactly.
Don't overcomplicate what's worked for quite literally, decades.
Right. And that the guys will laugh about this. Speaking of overcomplicating things, I hate to harp on AEW in a WWE based video, but something that just came to mind about overcomplicating things.
Yeah, you're welcome for the clout, AEW.
Specifically, a storyline that me and the fellas talk about. It was Adam Cole and MJF, and they had a storyline. They hated each other, then they were tight, and then there was some.
I don't know who those people are. Just want to be clear.
I got you.
See?
So
point, dunk.
In short, there was a convoluted storyline. MJF calls himself the devil, and these people had devil masks on and were beating the shit out of people backstage. And then they finally did the reveal on who the devil was, and it was really convoluted, to be honest. And it ended up being Adam Cole. So he played the long game, trying to be MJF's boy, and Adam Cole and these other wrestlers he's tight with are in this faction now called Undisputed Kingdom, which we call Undisputed Middom. I know the guys will know, but in essentially what I'm saying, it's a great example of convoluted shit in wrestling that doesn't need to be convoluted.
You mean convoluted?
Convoluted. Yes, convoluted.
I was falling asleep. It sounded so boring.
But no, it's a great example of something that didn't need to be convoluted, and it ended up being so. Like, sure, the mystery of it, and like, oh, who's the one attacking so and so? But it's a great example of when
sounds childish.
Yeah, a great example of letting it cook too much.
Right? Yes.
No.
Yeah, right. And that goes back to what Phil was saying about Roman Reigns for a whole another 12 months, Cody getting his ass kicked for a whole another 12 months, and it just you don't want to oversaturate something.
Exactly.
If you put something together piece by piece, time by timeline, month by month, week by week, and it's gold, well, don't try and pressure cook it into a diamond because a turd's gonna come out the side.
Exactly. Something that Vince did not know or pick up on as much as he should have.
Particularly in the last handful of years.
I'd go back 15 to be honest.
Yeah, no, that is, and it's funny that you mentioned that 15 years. I think back to, like, for me, my diehard wrestling fan era is pretty obvious. Attitude Era, early Ruthless Aggression, and 15 years going back would be 2009. So more or less, same department area of where a lot of I think casuals probably checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Because early Ruthless Aggression, you still had tons of casuals.
Oh, yeah.
04, 05, right?
Yeah.
But by the time you and I met, which was the early 2010s, I didn't give a flying fuck about wrestling.
Right.
And that was a lot of, and you knew from day one, I was very honest. I hate Vince. I hate what he's done.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was viewed as sacrilegious to say anything against that man.
Right, that's true.
It was. And now, obviously, things have changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And pretty rapidly for that matter, but that's with certain things coming to light.
Right.
Reveals the truth I've always felt was there and hurtful for wrestling. So.
Oh, yeah.
Now, wrapping it up, for me, where does WrestleMania 40 rank all time? So I haven't seen every single one of them, and I haven't seen every single one of them live, but I've seen enough WrestleManias to say that, oh God, everyone's going to have their different top fives, right? Different top 10s. But I'll say this, instead of trying to place it in a top 5 or 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll say this: most important and successful WrestleMania in at least 20 years.
Okay.
I'll stand on that.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Me, I think you're onto something. It's definitely up there. Like I said, WrestleMania 20, 30, 40. Like each 10 years is pretty substantial with WrestleMania. And I think WrestleMania 40 obviously fell into that exact group of important WrestleManias. A few other I'm missing. 21, where Cena and Batista won the titles, and a few other.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, 17, of course, Stone Cold turning on The Rock with Vince.
One of
and
my personal favorites.
Oh, such a good one.
If not my personal favorite.
Oh,
It's certainly one of them. But 17 is probably my favorite one. 21's up there.
19 is personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, 19's way up there. 14 with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But the point is, you see how far we're having to go into the bag to find something that we could put next to 40 or above it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're more or less in the same.
Absolutely.
In agreement.
Yeah, so, and a homie of mine, I remember he asked me, he was like,
what does the chat say? How do you rank 40 amongst everything else?
Let's see, Mike, the homie Mike, he's got it in his top 5.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially just in the ones I've watched. He mentioned 17 is his GOAT also, which I'd agree with that. That's definitely up there. Yeah. So looks like Mike is on the same page with us. I think top 5 is.
Well, just let you know, Bryce, Mike is right about everything when it comes to wrestling. So you just listen to him from now on.
Well,
Mike, good job, Mike. We're right.
I'll have to remember that when I chat with him tomorrow about something else.
No, he's right. Whatever it is, he's already right. So just don't. Everything he just said. Agreed.
Looks like Nick, he said, let's see, WrestleMania 23. Oh, that was a good one. 25. That was.
I don't know if I've seen 25.
25 has Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, their first Mania match, which is an absolute fucking classic.
I wonder if that's one of those you and I watched at like 4 a.m. in Florida. It sounds familiar. The main event does.
Possible. It's possible.
That would be the start. Well, yeah, the start of when I stopped watching. So,
because that was like 2009.
Again, I could be wrong because there's some I haven't seen, so I can't really be an ultimate judge, But from the ones I have and the stuff I have seen, it had a feeling that WrestleMania hasn't had in a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Both the week leading up to it, and the week after, because that matters too.
Yeah,
at least. If you're truly a wrestling fan, you want it to succeed as a whole.
Oh, absolutely.
So from an observational standpoint and getting me, the casual, back into sitting here talking about it for hours on end.
Right.
Pretty big win.
I mean, that's what I've heard too from you, my older brother, my homie Christian and Marcus. All those guys. You included. All you guys, are casuals, and for you guys to all be excited about wrestling again, to me that says something. Because I'm like, damn, I haven't talked to sans you, because you and I talk about it every now and then. But those guys, I don't talk wrestling with as much. So to hear them all be excited for WrestleMania, I'm like, wrestling is truly becoming cool again. Just like The Rock has been saying, wrestling is cool again. Pro wrestling, cool again.
Yeah, well, he's right. In this case, factually, if, like I was saying earlier on, in a perfect world, you please the diehards and the casuals. And if the casuals are pleased, that gives the diehards a better product.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can do both, that's where the best stuff happens.
Absolutely.
End of story for me.
Yeah, and then I agree. And it sounds like Triple H is really trying to take that into consideration, hearing the crowds on a weekly basis, seeing who they're cheering for.
He seems very receptive. He's a businessman.
Yeah, and for a guy who's been in the business as a wrestler and now as an executive, head of creative, he's seen the best of both worlds. So he has a good head on his shoulders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been around the block in every way that you can within this business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like going to a restaurant, right? Let's say it's a pizza restaurant. For whatever fucking reason, this place has amazing pizza, but for some reason, they put ketchup on their pizza all the time. Just sprinkle it on top. Now, I'm a weirdo when I'm stoned. I'll do weird shit. But if you went up to the owner and you said, yo, dude, I love your pizza, but why you got to put ketchup on everything here? And he just went, eat ketchup, bitch. Like, your casual consumer will go, they have pizza down the block. It doesn't have ketchup on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let me go get that.
So, right. Yeah. So it's a business.
Oh, yeah.
It's entertainment and it's a business. So you've got to find I don't know if middle ground would be the right term, but you have to placate, or rather please, both.
Right.
And that's what we got here.
Yep.
All right, any final thoughts from anyone here before we bounce out?
Let's see. Mike mentioned WrestleMania 13 being another good one. Even though not,
I've seen that one. That's a good one.
Even though not in my top 5, it's special for me because I'm a Taker Mark, and seeing him with the title was great.
Yeah.
Or seeing him win. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, I thought him sneaking in and out was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And
then,
I agreed.
And then Nick says, Pat McAfee says pro wrestling is beautiful. I do remember him saying that in the recent, in the WrestleMania. Sorry, yeah.
I do too. I do. That was towards the end.
Yep.
Pat McAfee is a fucking gem.
Oh yes, I love Pat.
And
man.
if you're a diehard, like I love him as a sports guy, but if you're a diehard wrestling fan, you have to really appreciate what he's doing for wrestling.
Oh yeah, I know all of us
and
do.
Culture. Like you have to love that guy. You don't have a choice,
right?
Or or you just hate what you love somehow. Like
right.
I love that guy, and also he's part of what helps bring the casual to the table.
Yeah,
because he's known. We all know.
Yep.
He was a fucking punter in the NFL.
Yeah.
But what he's really known for is being entertaining.
Exactly.
And being able to speak on such a wide variety of things.
Oh yeah.
Whether he's an expert or a casual himself.
Right.
He can always speak on it.
Yep.
And that's what people come for.
Hell yeah.
He's very funny as an announcer.
Oh yeah, it's so great.
Stuff. So yeah, in the books, for me, it's in my top 5 for sure.
Oh yeah, I agree.
There's nostalgia. There's things that you'll never be able to put above others or whatever that happens with the human psyche. But realistically, I'm just saying, in my adult lifetime, definitely the best one.
Yeah, I'd say so.
In my adult lifetime, I'm 34, so since 18, yeah, I'd have it as my best.
Yeah, it's definitely top 5 for me.
And it makes me very excited for next year, which has at least a decent chance of being here.
Oh, I hope so,
in Minneapolis.
Man. Really hoping it.
Figure it out, Uber.
Yeah.
And
City Council, all y'all, figure that out.
Figure that shit out.
Oh, we got one final question. The homie Mike asks, how often do we go live? Which is a nice segue to plugging our shit.
Well, I think we go live whenever something comes to our mind that we feel is
worthy. That's probably the best.
We haven't done a whole lot of lives. Lives have been kind of a new thing for us.
Yeah.
That we've like sprinkled in here and there. We had a bit of a break. My dad has had cancer and Bryce has had life stuff himself. I have. But going forward, I know he and I have talked about this a lot. Not strictly on wrestling. Like it could be music. That's what we talk about more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that doing a few lives a month is definitely going to be a thing.
Oh, most definitely.
They're a lot easier to put on than a fully like polished and edited product. Like if we put out a video that's an hour, like 30 human hours go into it.
Oh, no doubt.
Live, set up the lights, set up the camera, got something to talk about, boom, and here we are. This is almost an hour-long video, and it's been easy peasy to talk about.
Hell
and y'all contributing to it is great. So I would say you can look for us live at least 2 or 3 times a month.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So probably 2, 3, 4 times a month would be my answer, especially going forward after we've figured it out more.
Yeah.
Stuff. So that'd be my answer there. Anything you'd like to add, sir?
Just one more thing. Oh, Mike, obviously says sorry to hear that about your dad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, life is life. It's difficult at times. And when you're a content creator, no one... you're nice. Sorry to hear about your dad, but generally speaking, people don't, when they have a content creator or anyone that they like to watch, even if it's, again, casually,
right?
They don't really give a fuck what's going on. So
we've
always, AWR has always had a tight-knit group of dudes and gals that we have these conversations. So
exactly.
First of all, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And number 2, if you have, like we've always said to people in the comments, in the crowd, whatever you want to call it, if you have an idea, something that needs to be talked about, throw it at us.
Yeah, throw it at us.
We've said
y'all boys know how to get a hold of me. Let me know.
We have said yes to more things and a wide variety of things than you can imagine. We did a whole video about Kanye West before Kanye had quite gone full Kanye. And just because someone said, do a deep dive on that, we said, bet. And we put 40 hours into that shit. So if you have something you think needs talking about,
let us know.
It could be wrestling, it could be music. Throw it out there.
Yeah, let us know.
Movies, video games.
Which we are looking to expand upon some videos about video games.
Yeah.
Movies is a real good one that we can.
I think we both want to do like a ranking video of like top 10 movies of all time. Top 10 video games or video game series.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and do it live so we're not working off notes. We're just debating and discussing.
Maybe best movie series like Bad Boys.
Yeah, you go like that. Which I'm sorry. Fuck the third Bad Boys movie.
I was telling those guys about it. I mean, the fourth one looks promising that they're coming out with in June, but
as long as Martin Lawrence actually gets a contributing role, it was like he was like a side dad.
Yeah.
The third one, it was really weird. It should give you evidence of what we're talking about. We're pretty open to suggestions.
So no doubt.
Throw it all out there. Anyway, that's all I got.
I mean, I think we should take him out with the good old "If you fuck with us in any way, shape, or form."
Hit that subscribe button.
Hit that like button. Y'all know the deal.
Yeah, and it does help if you hit the notifications and turn it to all.
Yeah.
That way, when we go live, it'll ping your phone right away. And other than that, all wrongs reserved forever.
AWR. Yes, sir.
Deuces.
Peace. Appreciate y'all, boys. Shout out to y'all boys. Bad Boys for life. Shout out to everybody checking it out.